Hi,
Hi, how are you?
good. How are you, Kaci with Philadelphia Tribune? I'm fantastic. Um, Fun snow day. We finally got our winter.
Where are you? Are you in New York?
Philadelphia.
Oh, of
So
course.
we get the in between. Um, I just want to say I am extremely excited for the show. I'm extremely excited for your journey and just to see a young brown girl doing her thing. One of the things I love the most about Naomi is she's very intuitive. You know, for a young person this age, she is a straight shooter and doesn't operate on fear. So, talk about what that is like just to play someone who is comfortable in her skin at such a young age.
Yeah, I think that is such a beautiful thing because a lot of people, I know myself too, in my generation, feel that way. There's a great feeling of like you're never going to be anybody else, so like just accept yourself and love yourself, and authenticity is key. I think that what's so great about Naomi and really kind of sets her apart is that before she gets her power, she has this confidence. She almost has the confidence of like a superhero. Like her power is herself, and I think we should all look into ourselves and really feel that. But I think, as the series goes on, Naomi is a different person than she is in episode 1 versus, let's say, episode 8. She discovers that this she discovers her powers and discovers things about herself that may awaken a fear that she never thought she had within herself, and that can be an uncomfortable feeling.
Absolutely. And I think when she starts to discover her powers is when the uncertainty comes in. The other thing that I love is she is has a great relationship with her parents where she can talk about her sexuality in terms of like it is not a project, it's just a part of who she is. Because I think too often when you have a show and it's a young person, it's like almost like, oh God, we need to get you help or a support group. Where in this case, the parents are like, okay, and she's like, this is who I am, and I'm still figuring it out. But they talk about her dating life like they would any other teenager. So how much of that did you have a say in, or was that already in the script?
Yeah, I mean, well, I love the relationship one between her parents and her because it's not, a lot of times, and this is true, it can be, a lot of times you see a teen angsty relationship or an attitude with parents, which can be, it can be real life because when you're a teenager, things change and you change a little bit. But I think that what I loved when I first read the script was how it wasn't that. And it was almost as if it was Ava and Jill kept saying this, that as if her parents, they're very cool, as if they were like her cool best friends. She went to a party the night before, but she's still respectful. It's not like she's treating her parents like they are her friends. And I thought that was really beautiful because that's true. And there are people like that. But I've had a say about what, had a couple conversations with Jill, going throughout the series, talking about that. But I think in the pilot, I loved it because it was like, in this generation, especially, people have been doing this for years, but there's a great thing where you don't have to be labeled and you don't have to put a label to yourself. And that's real life, love is love. So, Greg and Jennifer having this conversation with Naomi, it's natural because that's how she feels. And it's so beautiful because it's like, it's just a regular conversation. I don't think it was put in there for like so much intention, like we're going to make her this so that the audience members can know this. It's just a regular conversation. And it's not forced or pushed, which I really love.
The other aspect I love is she is a military child. I grew up partially in a military base. My stepdad was in the military in the army, and that seemed so honest, and it's also so authentic when you were, when she's talking to her friend, and it's like, hey, you have a chip on your shoulder and a bias as against non-military kids. You know what I mean? You're being exclusionary because there's a certain way. I get it. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of understanding. You're always the new kid, so you have that wall up. I love how she's honest with her friends about who they are. Did you do any research about military kids, or was it just like, you know what, it's on the page, I'm going to trust it?
Oh, of course. I love doing research. I think the research process is like it would be almost like, you know, no disrespect to anyone who doesn't do it, because, you know, there is great things in not doing the research project and just letting yourself like be free. But I think that I would almost be upset with myself if I didn't. My mom actually is a military kid. So it was fun to, you know, talk to her and, you know, grow on that. But then also, you know, I did do my research and I watched videos on how it feels. You know, I've watched adoption videos and I've watched videos on how it feels to be in the military. I watched like and I still do it. The other day I watched, on my break, I watched a video of like 12 kids talking about how it feels to constantly move. And although I can't relate to that, seeing that and being empathetic to those situations is really important. You know, Naomi always looks for the best in people. So if you're treating someone who has gone through things and has to move all the time like they don't matter, that's not okay.
Last but definitely not least, what do you want young, especially young Black girls, to get from Naomi? Because I think, you know, representation does matter. I loved superhero stories, and there weren't a lot when I was younger that looked like me. So you kind of like had to say, okay, I like these qualities, I like these other. You kind of like had to make your own superhero. But they get to see you and they get to see her not just have powers, but I love that she has a humanity. So what do you want young Black girls as they're watching this show and growing with Naomi to get out of it?
Yeah, I think that there's like two things that they can take from the character and that they can take from the story. I think especially for, you know, young girls of color, but just young girls, well, specifically young girls of color, I think that, you know, especially Black girls, you see this representation of yourself, but it's not forced, or it's not, you know, tokenism. It's a story that, you know, centers around this girl who happens to be a young teenage Black girl. And there's so many different stories of Black people, but we get the joy of this, and we get the joy of it just being a, you know, there's things that are touched upon, but, you know, the narrative of story is this coming of age superhero story with a Black girl as the lead. And that there's just so much joy in that, because we don't see that often. And I'm excited for future projects to see that. But I think, you know, Naomi's confidence, the way that she dresses, you know, sometimes they put us girls or just people in a box. Like we have to, you know, she lives in Oregon right now. When you see the background actors and you see the other series regulars, she's dressed in a different way than they are. And that is so beautiful, because she doesn't put herself in a box. She lets herself explore. And I think that especially young people, it's crucial that we do that. Authenticity is key. So I would take that away, that you don't have to be like everyone else, and be kind while you're doing it. Be a good person. Just, you know, she has such a good heart. Be a good person and be authentic. I think from the show, I hope that people take away that you are enough. And although you may doubt that, especially if some pressure or weight that you've never felt before is put on you, you are enough, and you are good enough no matter. And, you know, sometimes we don't believe it. People will tell us that we're good enough, and we're like, deep down, we don't feel that we are, but you really are. And you're important. And once you believe that in yourself and you really truly see it, then that's gold.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you an amazing season, and I can't wait to find out more about Naomi and how she deals with getting her powers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.